What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys another set of games featuring a brand new Pokemon of the week. We're going to be using Mega Charizard X, the physical variant of the otherwise exclusively special attacking Charizard. It gains the ability Tough Claws, and Dragon Dance makes it a huge threat to most teams out there. And since it hasn't really been utilized that much in VGC, I figure I'd take a week out of my time and make a ton of games featuring some really wacky combos. To accompany Charizard, we're going to be pairing it with a Psych-Up Terrakion, one of my Gen 5 favorites. We're going to be using a full wall Sunny Day Venusaur that leads to some pretty cool turn 1 shenanigans. We're going to be using a Choice Spec Sylveon just because I need something standard. I need some Pokemon that isn't completely wacky and weird to base some kind of strategy around for late game. We're going to be using a Choice Scarf Flash Fire Typhlosion, one of my absolute favorite Pokemon, and it works great in this specific team. And then to lead everything off, I needed an Intimidator, and we're going to be using an Eject Button Scrafty that can lead to some really cool turn 1 plays. So I figured what better team to test this against than last week's team. We're going to be leading off against a Mega Bandit team, which is something that, we don't really see all that often, but if you want to check out last week's Mega Bandit games, I'll leave a link to those in the description. We're going to be fighting against Kropak, who uses Bandit, Scrafty, Gothitelle, Scizor, Milotic, and Snorlax. Snorlax is a major buzzkill to this team with its thick bat ability, but I have a Terrakion and Scrafty, so it should be fine. I'm only going to play 2 games today. I'm going to feature the Terrakion Charizard aspect of the team, but we're going to go over the multiple different types of variations, leads, combos that this team can do throughout the week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. Hopping right into it, we are going to lead Charizard and Terrakion. This is one of the main combos of the team, and it's super strong. It's really funny, and it just provides so much turn 1 pressure that if the combo goes off, most opponents have no way to really retaliate. So he actually leads and scouts my Charizard X, which is really good. Like I said, Frisk is a really good ability. So I figure I might as well Mega, go on Charizard X, gain that Tough Claws, really strong, making all my moves do 1/3% more damage. And we obviously are going to scout a double protect here. Bandit needs to protect for a turn to get its Prankster going. So since I knew he was pretty much going to protect, I get to go for a Dragon Dance with Charizard. Now this is a full attack speed Jolly Charizard, which means my Adamant Terrakion actually goes second. So it actually gets a chance to psych up the Charizard. That's the way it's the way the team is made, and it lets me go for a huge Flare Blitz on turn 2, almost picking up the KO on the Gothitelle, but we have Terrakion to follow up the KO with a Rock Slide. So these two pair very well together. Using a Jolly Charizard and an Adamant Terrakion, set your speed tiering just right to where Terrakion has a chance to psych up the Charizard. And for those of you that haven't fought a Dragon Danced Terrakion before, let me tell you, it is one of the scariest Pokemon in the metagame. It is super destructive, and we're going to showcase it throughout these week's games. So I protect on turn 3. Don't need a Bullet Punch in the face, but remember, I do have a Focus Sash on the Terrakion, so it's not the biggest of deal. Starting turn 4, he opens up with a Shadow Sneak and a Bullet Punch, 2 priority moves, but it's not enough to break my Terrakion and Charizard. These things are too strong, too bulky. Charizard gets a chance to go for the Dragon Claw on the Bandit, and it's going to open up Terrakion to go for a super +1 close combat on that Scizor, picking up the KO from 90%. Such ridiculous damage, it's so crazy. And now I have 4 Pokemon, my opponent only has 1. He sends out Alone Scrafty, and from here there's no real way I can lose, so you gotta style him just a little bit. So I decide to protect since I'm pretty sure a Fake Out is coming onto my Terrakion slot, and it's gonna let Charizard go for whatever move it really wants to. Remember, he did get the Intimidate off, so right now I'm only sitting at a +1. I decided to go for Dragon Claws. I don't want to just take the recoil. And, after a second Dragon Claw, following it up with a close combat for my Terrakion, I will be able to pick up the 4 stock. And I know this is one of the first games that I played. It was a pretty easy game, but it definitely showed the strengths of the team and showed how if your opponent goes for a very defensive turn 1, like a double protect, or some kind of weird play that normally would be considered defensive, like a Tailwind play or something like that, you can steal free wins by going for this Dragon Dance Psych Up combo. So that was game 1. We're going to hop into game 2. Leading off against Master George 232. He has a Whimsicott, Gengar, Bisharp, a Mungus, Charizard of his own, and a Conkeldurr. So against this team, I'm really confident against a Mungus, but Pokemon like Bisharp means I can't really lead with Scrafty, so we're going to be leading with the Charizard Terrakion combo. Again, it's really strong in this situation, so we're just going to start things off and get right into it. Charizard and Terrakion, and this isn't one of the best leads in the game. Like, one of the last games I talked about, in the last week's games, I talked about the strength of Sableye and Bandit and how I felt that was a really, really strong, aggressive lead. This lead has a ton of holes in it, but against teams like this is super fun, and the amount of style you can put on your opponents is definitely real. So we see the Gengar obviously go for the defensive turn 1, gonna go for a Protect. I'm expecting like a Tailwind or something like that. He goes for an Encore. I don't really know what was up with that, but it does let me go for the Dragon Dance. Maybe he thought I was gonna like Protect or something. That's probably what it was. And I go for the Psych Up again. So I have 2 Pokemon with +1 in 2 stats at the end of the first turn, and we're going to see the Encore come out from the Whimsicott on turn 2. But that's exactly what I want to happen. I'm not scared of this team at all. I have a +1 Terrakion, and I'm going to wreak havoc on my opponent's team. Even though Charizard is stuck using Dragon Dance for a few turns, it's not the biggest of deal, and we're going to see that throughout this game. So my opponent goes for a Tailwind with the Whimsicott. It's not really enough to save him though. I mean, Charizard is getting super destructive. My opponent hasn't started checking it yet, and he's going to lose his Gengar this turn to the +1 Rock Slide. I know that he activated Tailwind that turn, but Terrakion is still faster than Gengar because of the +1. So there wasn't really that much my opponent could have done. I don't know. We're going to start off turn 4. Terrakion is going to go for Protect. I do not want to eat a Mach Punch in the face, and it's very predictable, and I'm really surprised that he hasn't tried to target Charizard yet. I know he's probably thinking he can just lay up Encores after I'm Encored, but I'm not going to let that happen. So we see Dazzling come out there, does a little bit of chip damage to Charizard, but since Terrakion protected itself, I'm fine. We see Encore ends, and this is where I start making plays. I decided to switch out my Terrakion, even though I'm at +1. I don't want to go down to a Mach Punch, don't want to go down to a Dazzling Gleam. Switching a Typhlosion here, not the bulkiest Pokemon, but I didn't really bring that many other Pokemon that could have switched in, and my opponent Encores a Protect, which is going to make it fail, as my Typhlosion switches into the Mach Punch. So starting off turn 6, I go for a second Protect, hoping my opponent goes for the predictable Encore again. Luckily he does. Remember, Encore doesn't work if it actually hits the Protect. So it's going to allow me to get a Choice Scarf Flamethrower, and my opponent was probably not expecting my Typhlosion to be faster than his Conkeldurr. So really good stuff for me. Typhlosion sadly is going to go down this turn, but I have a 3 times attack, 3 times speed Charizard, and there's no stopping it now. My opponent's Tailwind is petered out, and it's time for Sylveon to come in, and Charizard will not be denied this victory. It's too strong. There's no way my opponent can really stop this here. I have the perfect Pokemon for this situation. Charizard is going to lay down a Flare Blitz, one-shot into the Amoonguss. I take a ton of recoil in the process. That is one of the bad things about Flare Blitz. But then we're going to see Sylveon finish things off with a Choice Spec, or sorry, not Choice Specs, Life Orb Hyper Voice. Forgot that I was using the Life Orb instead. So guys, that is my super cool Charizard X team. If you guys like this team, feel free to like the video. I would really appreciate that. Look forward to a ton more games this week. I think I have about 7 more videos featuring this team. In tomorrow's video, we're probably going to feature Scrafty Venusaur leads that activate Sunny Day and switch in with the huge power packers of Charizard and Typhlosion. So unlike last week's Mega Bandit team, this team has a ton of cool turn 1 combos that can lead to some really wacky plays. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.